Welcome to another installment of 5-Minute Tones. I hope you've all been fantastic. I've got some interstate ragdoll shows coming up this weekend, and I'm in the middle of doing my due diligence with my main preset, just going through and making sure everything's working fine, and it's working fine, so I'm going to show you all what I am using to get started. I'm going to be playing this PRS Custom 24. It's got a Seymour Duncan Custom 5 in the bridge and a PRS McCarty neck pickup. I've got DR 11 to 54 DDT strings on there, and I'm using these Tortex Jazz 3 picks, the very, very tiny 1.35 millimeter white ones. And this is all a non-negligible part of the guitar sound. The way I play, the way I like to have my guitar set up will contribute to the way this preset sounds. So if you do download it from Exchange and it doesn't sound exactly like this, don't worry, just tweak it for your guitar and your hands. Having said that, the way I like to have it set up is I've got the USA Lead mid-gain as my main amp. I talk about this all the time. You're probably familiar with seeing these settings on there. The output EQ, I actually kind of matched to where I like the output EQ on my Real Boogie Mark IV, but the Mark IV sliders are not linear like the FM3 sliders in here. So a pretty savage V curve on the real amp actually turns into this. And the way I measured that was like I ran pink noise through the graphic EQ on the Mark, and then I just kind of matched it with this using an EQ match program. So they sound really, really similar. There's no preamp low cut tweaks or anything like that like I would normally do. I found that doing it this way sounds like the real amp, and the real amp sounds pretty good. And this sounds pretty good as well. So I've got a control switch assigned to the input boost and fat switch that turns on automatically for scene 2. The cabinet IR that I'm using is good old LT TV Mix 7. I've got a parametric EQ here with some low cut and some high cut, and some very surgical little cuts in here to just kind of take out some harshness in particular spots in the IR, some multi-band compression to just kind of tame some extreme chuggy noises. I find this stuff works really, really well live. So let's just hear the main chunky sound on here, and then I'll let you hear my lead sound, my main rhythmic delay scene, and then the fourth scene, which I use for like 2 small sections. For the lead sound, I'm using the multi-tap delay. Delay 1 and 2 are very short, and they have chorus attached to them. Very cool feature of that particular block. And then a pretty standard dotted eighth note and quarter note delay for the other 2 delays in there. Some pretty severe high and low cut in there to just kind of make this sit nicely underneath my main guitar tone. The delay block I was using for that main rhythmic delay in there, it's a quarter note and a dotted eighth note, just a dual delay. And again, going hard with the high and low cut to just kind of make it sit nicely with my main sound. The multi-band compressor, I have a video talking about this. Basically, what this is doing, I'll let you hear the difference, is when I palm mute, it's acting like a dynamic EQ. So I've set up this pretty restrictive range right here. Threshold and ratio are set up so that when I play open, it's not doing much. When I really lean into the palm mute, it's just kind of taking out some boom. Very, very straightforward. There's a gate in between the amp and the cab sidechain to input 1 to keep it super tight in a very noisy environment. There's also a wah on there connected to an expression pedal, kind of sounds like this. The one tweak I made in the wah block was I lowered the maximum frequency. I think it just kind of sits better with a low-tuned guitar like this. Otherwise, I've got the perform page set up with the The low cut, high cut, my solo boost level, everything I would need to tweak at a sound check, instantly accessible on the front of the unit. And on scene 4, I was using the multi-tap delay on channel B, 4 really short delays, and some of them are really wobbly. So I used that in songs like Rewind Your Mind for the intro and the bridge. Otherwise, this is designed to be a pretty forgiving preset to play. So like lots of gain, lots of time-based effects for my lead sound, but the parametric EQ and multi-band really kind of massage it to sit in its own zone. Bass player playing with distorted bass, very loud drummer with lots of shiny cymbals, so the guitar can just kind of optimize in its own space in there and let the other instruments breathe. When I have to solo, I've got heaps of grease and heaps of cheat codes, and it generally works pretty well. I guess we'll see this weekend. If you're in Melbourne or Sydney, check out the video description for some links for information on the shows. And if you like what I do here on the channel, there's some links in the video description to support what I do directly. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.